What's up, everybody? It's Mac TV, and we back again with another one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Before the headlines, before the police report, before the tragedy in Bosie, Elliot Bailey, Trevante Calloway were two men from Richmond, California, who grew up around the same street, around the same people, and had the same childhood memories. Elliot grew up on Vrede Street, while Trevante, many of us known as Tay, stayed downtown area. They wasn't close at first, but that changed everything through a mutual friend named Carl. Carl House became one of those places everybody seemed to come to. It was me, Trevante, Berger, Titian, Carl, and many others. Young, playing games, hanging out, making memories, and shit. And it lasts forever. I remember sleeping outside the Elliott Project house in the backyard, sleeping in a tent like we in the woods, just being kids. Elliott having a twin sister. And at some point, I remember them getting split up, and Elliot going to group home in El Sobrante near the high school. We would all go meet him there on Fridays and Saturdays and go to the mall and to the movies. We were young, broke, and trying to figure life out. We would get movie tickets by sneaking in the movies, asking people for them, and then taking them back and getting the money back. Looking at it now, it's kind of reckless. We're doing shit as kids. That's the life we had. That's what we was going through. Hey, and Richmond was Richmond. There were fights, adventures, and plenty of nights riding BART because none of us had cars. I remember getting into fights on BART, just being everywhere together. One memory stood out. It happened the night Friday after next came out. I got jumped. My baby mama got jumped. Carl went to jail. During the riot, the police beat Elliot severely, slammed him with his head on the ground in front of IHOP. It was crazy. That was one of the worst nights I remember us having together, for real. But even all of that, we were still young. We didn't know how many of those memories we'll eventually look back on. Shit. Then life started changing. Tay eventually would get his first car with his 18 money. People started having children. Everybody going in different directions. But Ellie and Trevante stayed close. In fact, from the way I remember it, they became like brothers. They were together constantly. They really loved each other. They wasn't just people from the same neighborhood. They were like best friends. Eventually, both Elliot and Trevante moved away from Richmond and ended up in Bosie, Idaho. And that's where everything changed. According to the police and prosecutors, on May 8, 2014, Elliot Bailey, 28, and Trevante Calloway, 27, were inside an apartment in Bosie. Trevante was celebrating his 27th birthday with his girlfriend and others. Prosecutors said Shamar Wynn, who had been acquainted with the men, went to the apartment with John C. Douglas. According to the testimony, Wynn brought Douglas to the door. When Trevante's girlfriend opened up the door, prosecutors said Douglas stepped inside and opened fire. Elliot Bailey and Trevante Calloway were killed. Trevante's girlfriend was also shot in the arm but survived. For the people who knew them back in Richmond, this wasn't just another news story. These were two kids who we had grew up with. These two people who shared childhood memories, BART rides, fights, jokes, weekends at the mall, and countless days together. And now, thousands of miles away from the streets where they grew up, both their lives have been taken. The investigation eventually led police to several people prosecutors said were connected to the killings. John C. Douglas was identified by authorities as the alleged gunman. Shamar Wynn was accused of helping lead Douglas to the apartment. Another man named Anthony Roberts Jr. of Fremont, California, was accused of arranging the killing. Court records and prosecutors connected the case to the theft of approximately 30 pounds of marijuana. Wynn's defense also argued that the marijuana theft was connected to the shootings. The case eventually stretched across multiple states with arrests and extradites proceeding involving California, Pennsylvania, and Idaho. Douglas was ultimately convicted of 2 counts.
The man charged with hiring him kicked off this week. Sierra Oshwin joins us live in the Ada County Courthouse with a look at a survivor's emotional testimony. Sierra.
Brent, one of the men was arrested in May, but he said he didn't pull the trigger. That led police to another man nearly 2,500 miles away, all the way in Reading, Pennsylvania. He was arrested in July.
Is the person who shot into the living room towards Elliot Bailey and Trevante Calloway and then shot at you, is he in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is. Trevante Calloway and Elliot Bailey were murdered in a Boise apartment last year. Calloway's girlfriend, Jeanette Juraska, was shot in the arm but survived. She testified this morning.
Can you tell us what the bullet did to your arm?
It took out 4 centimeters of my humerus, and so they had to put a titanium rod in there that won't be removed. I ended up with radial nerve damage.
Anthony Robbins Jr. and John C. Douglas each faced 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The men were arrested months after the fatal shooting. Juraska testified the 3 were celebrating Calloway's birthday. She answered the door expecting a pizza delivery.
And then what happened?
The door pushed open, and the shooter came in.
Juraska says she recognized the shooter as Douglas. She testified that she had met him months before while working at a marijuana farm in California. Prosecutors say a drug supplier of Boise dealers wanted revenge on Calloway and Bailey after 30 pounds of marijuana was stolen from the home.
I don't want my name on anything.
Why?
Because I was scared that they're gonna come back for me.
Who?
The people that did it.
Brent, the witnesses were not allowed to go on camera.
But for those who knew Elliot and Tay, the Dico case could never completely explain what we lost. Because before they were names in the court case, they were Richmond kids. They were friends. They were brothers and everything but blood. And I remember them nights. Before all of this, I remember Elliot stayed on Virgin Street. I remember Tay staying downtown, staying on 2nd Street. I remember Carl bringing everybody together. I remember the backyard tents, the malls, BART rides, fights, jokes, all the crazy moments we grew up having together. I remember when we was young enough to think of those days will last forever. Shit. But then we got older. Life took everybody in different directions. And Elliot and Tay eventually built lives in bosie, however you say it. Unfortunately, they never got a chance to grow old. Rest in peace, Elliot Bailey. Rest in peace, Trevante Calloway. This story isn't just about how they died. It's about remembering who they were before the headline. It's Mac Mud TV, man. Rest in peace to my guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Richmond Docuseries Mac Mud TV. Thank you for watching, man.